I'll call the meeting to order and review the agenda for additions and removals of adjustment or adjustments.
Yes, we have one addition. This will be for the consent agenda. It's a Jackman's Fuel pre-buy. Let's put that as F after warrant and liquor licenses.
Is that for pre-buy for all of the buildings?
Sharon, propane for various buildings. Okay, that was the only addition.
And that's it.
Yes,
For changes? Yeah, well, I just, I don't want him trying to weasel something else in there halfway through that he
No,
didn't tell us about.
no plans at all to do.
All right, public forum, opportunity for citizens not on the agenda to briefly share comments or concerns.
Except Jimmy.
Except Jimmy, wow.
Always listen to Jimmy. Anybody out there? I don't see anybody. Department head roundtable, Public Works, Eric Coda, you are up.
Never on first.
No, you are.
You are tonight. You need to.
But that means you get to leave earlier.
That's true.
What?
That means you get to leave earlier.
Well, it depends on what else you're talking about.
Well, we're talking about you.
Right now.
Yeah, we know.
So we started hauling our sand. Still continuing roadside mowing. Doing some maintenance to get the stuff ready for winter. Like we had to rebuild my gearbox for the Freightliner for the bed chain. We got that all done and back in. We gotta rebuild the front plow mount for the Kubota for the plow. That's worn out and broke, so we gotta rebuild that.
That's a sidewalk tractor, right?
Yeah. Yeah, a new one is approximately $850 for a new hitch. So we think we can rebuild it. It needs some welding and needs some pieces to tighten back up so the lock mechanism will lock.
Front plow.
Yeah, well, the front plow or the
Cool.
blower or whatever goes on. That's all. We're doing the culvert tomorrow. On Meehan Road, changing the culvert out just above, we got it in 68.
And now I just have to remember to go the other way
You'll figure it out.
when I get up there.
Have you done anything with the Grizzly yet? Or is that?
I talked to Randy, well, I didn't, I gave Bridger to go down and tell Randy to go ahead and order the steel. Haven't got up with him yet to see if he's got it coming, I'm assuming he's ordered it. And it's on its way. He said he does have to come back down and take some measurements again, just to verify what he wrote on the paper, make sure everything's correct. So yeah, it's in the works.
Questions for Eric?
Just Eric, did you, the thing we talked about on North Street, moving that little bit of that sign and kind of clean up that area where the homeowner doesn't know, between the road and the sidewalk?
I totally spaced on that, forgot all about it. So
I'm just gonna bring it up on the select board. Just,
I
I'm in the village.
Yeah, I will go down and look at it. The only thing I wanna make sure of is that we don't have to stay so many feet away from the pole.
I was
I
wondering.
don't wanna get too close. and
If
then
you
have to
moved it
move
just south of the power pole,
Yeah,
then you would be on the other neighbor's lawn who mow the lawn.
I can move it down, yeah, maybe a little better.
I'm gonna put,
I'll tell you later.
I know who you.
Yeah, I know. Okay, that's all
I don't see Bruce. Brett, are you on?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. So just a couple of updates for you all. If you're interested, your fire department, we've been dispatched to 76 calls for service as of today, August 11th this year. If you haven't noticed, it's very hot and very dry outside. The state of Vermont, for Forest Parks and Rec, their fire warden program, the state is divided up into 5 areas. We are in area number 2023. And we have been operating at high fire danger since the 1st of August. And today we moved from high fire danger, we moved from high fire danger to very high fire danger, which essentially means no burning permits are being issued. I mean, fires would be very difficult to keep under control if started. Just kind of keep that in the back of my mind. We've had no requests for permits in a week or so that's a good thing. But it's extremely dry. I walked across the recreation field at noontime today on my way to the fire station, and it was like just crunching. It's like walking on dry leaves. So it wouldn't take much to start something. I'll reach out to the Greg. I'd like to get on your 825 agenda. Firefighter Greg Swain has put together a social media plan specifically for the fire department, and we'd like an opportunity to run that by you all. I recognize the town has a social media policy, but this is just to conform to that. But we have some ideas to help with recruitment and retention, using some different platforms for getting the word out about services we provide, recruitment. So hoping to get on your August 25th agenda to discuss that with you all. Your fire department, we're at 27 members today. And my 30 years with the Bristol Fire Department, until now, we only dipped below 30 once. We dipped to 29 for a very short period of time. So this is the lowest number I ever remember. Is it concerning for me? It is. We're an aging fire department. Maybe we need to make more of an effort, but we're certainly not drawing youth. Hopefully our relationship with the ELP program will catch fire, no pun intended there. And hopefully I'll have more information to share with you all on that at that August 25th meeting. I've been waiting for the director to get back from their vacation, as we're supposed to meet up and talk more about the specifics of the junior firefighter program and what that relationship looks like, and what resources are needed from the fire department. If you haven't taken a spin out behind your fire station recently, the Conex box training structure, it's in service. It's been utilizing it, but it continues to take shape. We've Kerry Farr, he spent a couple weeks building our roof prop. Caleb Rockwood is currently working on the decking on that second story of that. It's just a very impressive structure, and just very excited about the future and all the opportunities it's going to provide us, and hopefully other fire departments in Addison County would like to take advantage of it. So pending any questions from you all, that's all I have.
No, I just want to state that recruitment and retention is a nationwide problem. It's not something that we're only experiencing here in Bristol. So everybody's experiencing the same issues.
But I think, along those lines, retention is just equally as important as recruitment. As you all know, we work in this paid call capacity. So everybody's got full-time jobs. They've got family obligations. And I think some people really feel that, because we may have 27 names on a roster, but that doesn't reflect participation. Some give more than others. That's just a kind of an ongoing thing, but 27, it's just like our training. It's like why we don't measure in hours anymore, because hours don't measure anything but time. Show me that you're competent and proficient in something that's measurable. But we have a core group of firefighters we count on every single day. But I can only guess that people are, got their own stresses at home, and that's why we don't see them as much as I'd like to. But it's an ongoing problem. As Speaker, you just said, it's a nationwide problem. I don't have a solution. I think throwing money at something is not always the answer. I just think we need to do maybe a better job at recruiting. So hopefully that'll change, because it definitely worries me.
I have a few questions. Does 27 include the gentleman we're talking about tonight?
Gentlemen.
He's
Which
asking.
gentlemen?
The firefighter
Anthony.
Oh, that number does not include the person on leave of absence.
Okay.
We have one
It-
person on leave of absence.
And that app collects data, correct, on what firefighters and their response frequency for a period of time?
Yeah, we track all that information monthly, so I have it all broken down.
Do you have firefighters that are not meeting the standard of calls?
We have minimum standards in place per town policy, and those that don't comply, unfortunately, we had 3 this year that didn't meet the requirements, so they're placed on probation for a year to improve, hopefully correct that, and then get a fresh start a year from now.
And what happens in that case? They stay training or just non-deployable, or we?
Nope. So these individuals, they will continue to participate, go to trainings, go to calls when they're available, and hopefully get above that minimum level. And then just reevaluate next year. And unfortunately, if a person doesn't meet it next year, then I'll be having a conversation with you all about their future.
And is that a percentage of calls or?
Correct. Percentage of calls.
Percentage of calls in 30 hours of training?
The hours, actually, we lowered that. So as of July 1st, we lowered the threshold of hours because now we have our competency and proficiency-based training program that's been implemented. So next May, based on your function or functions within the fire department, you're either an exterior firefighter, a firefighter, or a pumping apparatus driver operator, or a combination of any of those. So you have to meet the requirements of one of those functions. So depending on your function, you will be evaluated on those next May. And with the idea that they will be able to demonstrate that they're competent and proficient in their skills. And we needed to do this because it's evident that just because you have a training doesn't mean people are actively participating and getting the knowledge they need to do their job and do it well. So this was a must. We've been talking about it for years, and we finally just moved forward with it on July 1st. So cool. I think it's a good thing.
I do too. Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brett. Water and sewer, Jill.
Hello.
There you are.
Good evening.
I'll keep it brief because it looks like we're going to go over the ordinance, and that's a big one. So the water leak on South Street, I believe at this point is fully resolved. We've got a new customer service line completely into the house now at 21 South Street, which is fantastic. The paving is scheduled for August 20th, so we'll do a little bit of communication about one-way lane shutdowns. We don't plan to shut the road. We just plan to do 1-lane traffic and utilize the lights. And it'll be water department working with highway department to get that done. And you will see some hydrant flushing towards the end of August, early September. I will warn that ahead of time with a little bit of note about water discoloration and potential flow changes, just so that people don't get worried that there's a problem. Because flushing does create discolored water. It will move particles from the inside of the water line. The hydrants don't get turned off until what's coming out of them is clear, but it does stir up all kinds of minerals on the inside of the water lines when they're flushed. So that's coming in. We're gonna do it while the weather's still nice and warm, and try to keep the water clean. I'm just doing my DBP testing first before I make a whole bunch of stirring with the water. So that's about it for water and sewer for the moment, since we have so much to do a bit later.
Alrighty.
Jill,
Yes.
do you want the sewer re-paper tomorrow?
It's the 12th. Yes, please.
Okay.
I was thinking about that on my walk tonight, like, oh, I didn't ask Sharon for it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brett, you had a question? You're muted.
Apologies. Just a quick question. I did reach out to Jill about this recently, and maybe this is going to be discussed in this water ordinance tonight, so please stop me if it is. But my question is just regarding hydrants and access to them. Obviously, in the winter, you have the challenges with snow, but in the summertime, especially as you get on in the season, you have the vegetation problem. And I just didn't know if, is that something, is Jill's department, are they responsible for that? Is that Public Works?
So I do trim around the hydrants that are in like lawn areas. My hesitation has been the ones that are in people's gardens where I would be like cutting down their plantings. I think I'll
Are
just,
they in their gardens or did they plant gardens around them?
I believe they planted gardens around them in the right of way. So, I mean,
There's one on Maple Street in particular.
I know.
You literally cannot, if you weren't on the fire department or the water, you would not know it was there.
yeah. So I think just out of consideration, I will knock on the door and try to have the conversation versus just chop all the plantings down, so that I don't get an angry call to the town office saying that I'm, sacrilege cutting somebody's flowers.
Yeah, and I'm certainly not looking to
Back to you.
upset people. It's just, this just kind of goes along with vegetation in general, this time of year. It's a problem in Bristol, and I don't know if we have any ordinance to enforce anything around it, and waiting till the fall to say, well, we're going to prep for the sidewalks to me, it's too late. I mean, your sidewalks are already overtaken by vegetation. Sorry, I'm getting off topic here, but this vegetation is a problem in the village of Bristol.
Yeah, there's probably 5 that really need to have like chainsaws come out. So I'll make a list, do a little communication, and then have a little bit of discussion with the landowners and with the town admin, and we'll just do some chopping.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
On the hydrant flushing, you're gonna obviously make sure the reservoir's top filled off because you're gonna be using a lot of water with the hydrants. Pretty
Yeah.
full.
Yeah, the other thing is we kind of need to do it before school's back in session because the flow to the far west end of town isn't that awesome when we're flowing hydrants. So
Okay.
it either has to be on a day where school is out of session and there isn't a large presence of students there, or when it's out of session for summer break.
But the reservoir will be topped off before we start flushing, so you're not.
Yeah, I mean, so the reservoir is always at 22 to 25 feet, so there's only 3 feet of play.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so yes, but it's virtually almost always full due to the way that we do our pumping sequencing.
Okay.
With regard to vegetation, I don't believe we have any specific ordinance or policy on that. We've tended to just send out a social media posts on Front Porch Forum, especially for vegetation on sidewalks. So we could do something similar for the hydrants that are being encroached by gardens, just as a heads up.
It's only to their benefit, should we actually need them? It's just, you want to make sure they're accessible. That's all. It's a safety thing. And it's no different with the vegetation. The visibility to these intersections is always a concern. So.
Chief, is there a standard or a footprint you'd like to see, like a 3-foot radius or
I think that's exactly what it is. I'd have to look it up just to confirm, but like for snow removal in the winter, they give you the dimensions of clearance. And I think it is 3 feet peaker, but don't quote me on that. I'll find out.
Okay. But that way, if we send something out on social media, we can quote that.
Yeah, I get it. I know you guys got to manage the public component of this, and you don't want to upset people. I get it.
Okay.
We didn't say that. We just, if we're going to send out a notice, we want to send it out with the proper.
Yeah, and it's only a few. That should be pretty easy to work with the property owner to make sure they're accessible.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Jill.
You all set, Jill, for now?
I am. Thank you. I'll keep you guys in the loop with scheduling on those different items.
Perfect. Consent agenda, approval of closure of town offices Monday, August 18th due to staffing availability. Request for technology reserve funds in the amount of $1,016.40 for replacement of the zoning administrator's computer. approval of 1 year leave of absence for firefighter Anthony Robidoux. Approval of past meeting minutes, 7/14/25, 7/28/25, 8/6/25. Authorize warrants and liquor and tobacco licenses and pre-buy for propane from Jackman's Fuels.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right. Town office closure. You give us just don't have staffing that way?
And Chris is on vacation, right?
Take a couple days, be open on Tuesday, but not until 10.
Okay.
Is there any
And-
thought of that week opening on Friday then? No. Chris coming in on Friday, not you. You've got family things. I understand that. But,
This Friday, yeah.
Oh,
Chris is on vacation.
Chris is thinking,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I was just thinking because it's gonna be a short week, only 3 days. You'll be off Monday. I agree with it. And then Friday you'll be out. The office is closed anyway, so it's only 3 days the public can come in that week. The following Friday after the Monday, we're closed. It's thinking about opening up that Friday. Just give it some thought, I guess, you guys.
I don't think changing the schedule for
Okay. never mind.
for 1 week
Never
is.
mind, never mind.
I
I agree. Okay.
You know, we're gonna confuse people. Request for technology funds for the zoning administrator's computer.
What happened to?
Nothing, older computer, sort of reaching the end of its cycle. We had the computer that did belong to the previous town administrator, which was one of the tough books,
Mhm.
a different kind of design of computer that is going to be given to the police department. Compensation for that will come from them, and then we'll use part of that or that compensation to pay for part of this.
He probably needs a newer upper model because of this new tracking.
Yeah, it's just a different machine. The top book is what the police department uses anyway. Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, bound like this for some reason. So
They were kind of indestructible.
I guess so. So it's perfect for the police, and then AZ will get a different machine. But yeah, spec'd out to make sure that it's gonna meet all needs.
Cause I know we're doing that new tracking where you can put the water lines on the. mapping
Right, the
and all that.
GIS, yeah,
So that's-
and that'll help.
GIS.
Yeah, size of hard drive and RAM and things like that. So Chris spec'd it out.
Okay, and Anthony Robidoux's 1 year leave of absence, he has moved to North Carolina, and if he doesn't come back, he'll be gone. If he comes back, we're holding the spot for him.
Okay, Michelle looked at the minutes.
Yeah, did you get my
meeting-
one question?
Yeah, I had the one question.
fixed- you
I'll
fixed
answer
that,
that. Yeah, I'll
yeah.
work on that.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, all the rest of them.
Any liquor or tobacco licenses? And the pre-buy is what?
It's in there, 11,000. I love it. It's in the paper. I can just- Should be in 2 weeks.
These are the sheets. We're gonna go with what Jackman recommends, based on what we used last year. The only one I checked with, because fire department went over. And he was fine with leaving it at the same amount of gallons as last year, so hopefully we won't go over again.
All depends on when you're filled, if you're filled
Right.
right at the end of the year, or if you're filled right at the beginning of the year.
Get one extra fill.
Yeah.
Push you
Right.
away.
Okay.
And it's on the warrant.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
I just like to publicly thank and give Anthony his year off. Anthony's a great firefighter. I wish him well in North Carolina, but sometimes I don't because I wish he'd come back.
Yeah.
All
He's a
right.
really good fighter.
Anything else on the consensus?
No,
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm getting tongue tied. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. I'm sorry, Jessica, I forgot you were there. Any questions?
Nope, I just said aye.
Regular business. Basin Street update from Chris Latham.
Yeah, Chris is on tonight, and he's got some details to share about where we're at with that particular project.
it's all paid for, right?
Found us a whole pool of money.
Yeah.
How's everyone tonight? Thanks for having me. Last time, does that come up on your screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
Ed.
looks
Okay.
good.
Last time I was in, I believe it was April of 24. And we came in and presented a couple different alternatives for the Basin Street. We had a on existing alignment alternative, and we had a off alignment alternative. The board chose to do the off alignment alternative. At that point, we went back to the office and we produced the conceptual level plans, which we provided to VTrans in the town. VTrans provided comments. We addressed any of the comments that needed to be done that would affect any of the NEPA permitting. And then we submitted NEPA in, it was either July or August of last year. That approval process takes 7 to 8 months generally, and in this case it took a couple extra. So we finally got the all clear in June, I think the end of June, early July. So I reached out to Ian and just requested a meeting, which Pat Travers and I and Ian met and kind of just went over where we are in the process and just to make sure that we want to move forward. So since then, Ian and I had another conversation. Eric Coda had a few questions for us. We've talked about those, but then Ian requested I come in and just kind of re-engage the board, make sure you know where we're at and what we need to do going forward. So I just put a very brief presentation together. I think the only new person maybe in the room there is Gregory. Welcome. Everyone else has been around for a while or has known me for a long time. So I just wanted to give a project overview, quick project background, which most of you are aware of, where we're at, what's next, and then have any questions or discussions. So as we all know, Basin Street is just to the east of where you're sitting now. It is a very steep road that goes down to 6 or 7 homes and property that the town owns, water, wastewater. And this project really has 3 components. The first one being the Basin Street profile itself. People leaving that, coming up the hill, they literally are stopping on a 20% grade and waiting to enter traffic from that, which is hairy under normal or good conditions. And if it's wet or snowy, it's just really, really tough and dangerous. So one piece of this is to revise the profile so that when you get to the top, there is a level landing of approximately 20 feet for cars to safely stop and enter traffic. The second component is a long-standing slope stability issue along the main street slope here behind the sidewalk. Some of it, I think, is from the drainage. Some of it's from dumping snow over, and that needs to be shored up in some fashion. So that's the second component. We'll be putting a much shallower slope there to stabilize that. And the third component is lower down Basin Street, addressing some of the stormwater by stone lining the existing ditch down through there that's all silted in. And then back up in this portion along the new alignment of Basin Street, we'll be tying in all the existing drainage. It'll just be continuous closed drainage system. So there won't be water coming out into ditches and flushing silts down until this stone lined, when we stone line this ditch. So the background, whoop, is there a question?
Just gonna say, Chris, we cleaned that all out this year.
Okay.
To the stone, we didn't take the stone out or anything, but we cleaned it all out down to the stone.
So there was stone in there originally.
Yeah, that's all been stone lined probably 10, 12 years now.
Okay. Well, we'll have to discuss if that stays as it is, or if you want it restoned. I guess for moving forward, I would probably keep that in and then have it as something that can come out later, but we can discuss that further. So
I don't want to mess you up, but I know Jill's listening. We've had some conversations about the drainage there. There's an old, just east of where that big culvert, the 24-inch comes out of the bank. There's a old stone laid crossing there that we have no idea how deep it is, or we're just curious as to whether the drainage is all going to be redone in that area, or if you're just tying into the existing.
Are you, Pete, are you talking up at the road level or down?
At the road level.
Yeah. So I can bring up the plans after this, but we're proposing to replace the catch basin in front of Bristol Insurance, Bristol Financial, and yes, put a new 30-inch pipe under Main Street, and then it'll be tied into other structures all the way down.
Okay, because I just know that's a concern with that Steve has with water design and how we're going to get around that.
Yeah, that was the meeting I had. I talked to Eric about that a few weeks ago, met with Chris, just he and I, and sort of went through Eric's kind of lists. And that was one, was upsizing that just for future and also as part of the water line project.
Yeah, that definitely can be coordinated, and obviously water line, they can, if they know the elevation of what we're planning on putting in there, they can easily work around that, go under or under likely. So the project's been around, or the thought of the project's been around for quite some time. As some of you know, back in 2008, Green Mountain Engineering did an evaluation, which evaluated bank stabilization and 3 alternatives for the Basin Street geometry or profile. In 2019, you contracted with them again, and they updated their study. And then the town applied for state fiscal year 2022 transportation alternative funds, which you were awarded. Oops. And then as well as a downtown transportation grant and a clean water initiatives grant. And more recently, I believe you also got a structures grant. So with federal funding comes this fun municipal assistance flowchart that has to be followed. The project was selected for a grant, as I said. Town was authorized to move forward. They initiated Du Bois and King. We came and provided or performed a local concerns meeting, developed a purpose and need statement. That was accepted. Then, like I said, last April, we came in and did a alternatives meeting. A preferred alternative was chosen. We developed that to conceptual design level. And then that was reviewed and sent in with the NEPA documentation, which has been sitting out there waiting for review or approval for the last year. So now that's all behind us. And now we want to move towards preliminary design and really just come in to make sure we're still moving in the right direction. Once we submit the preliminary plans, which I think we can do in the next couple months, once those are reviewed by the town and the state, we would then could move to the right-of-way phase, which for this project has, don't have a good graphic for that, but I guess this one will work. There's the ASMG properties that Adam owns. I think it's the intent that the town actually buys that entire parcel. So that could probably get underway at any point when you decide to move forward. We'll also have at least temporary easements for construction access on the Mariah Smiley property, perhaps on Eva's, and forget their name, the Weanings.
Yeah.
And then from there, once we have the rights, we'd be able to proceed forward to final plans, get authorized construction funding, and move it to construction. I just had a couple sections here as a reminder. This would be looking going up Basin Street. This is the existing Basin Street here. This proposed alternative or the preferred alternative moved the alignment off of that. So that's, you see that here, and then a 2-to-1 stone slope tying back down to existing. This is that concrete channel that's down in the basin area. And then this is looking east on Main Street. It would now be curbed. This is the kind of that swale area, the existing sidewalk location. There's guardrail here, and then the steep embankment. We would be incorporating a 4-foot shoulder, a curbed section, a grass green space between the curb and the sidewalk, mostly because of the utility poles there. But it also adds additional safety. And then a 3-on-1 slope, which we had discussed last time in the board chose. And then today I did do a quick update with new unit prices. In April of 2004, I think I had this at about 1.1, and it's creeping up to about 1.2.
So it's 1.2 minus engineering costs. Is that correct?
This is just the construction estimate. This
Okay.
does not include the engineering costs.
Yeah, we were at about 1.24 initially, I think, for both construction and engineering and right-of-way and legal. So we're up another 200,000 or so.
I am carrying a 15% contingency. I mean, I would say the majority, if not all, the items are there, so it should be fairly tight. But obviously, we're not done. And as time goes on, the prices go up. So
And that doesn't include the property of
No. So looking at the financials on that, if we add in this new one from Chris tonight, we're about 600,000 short. So we've got $300,000 grant. That's the TAP grant. We have a $226,000 grant, which is the Downtown Transportation Clean Water Fund, and we have a structures grant that was our latest for 146. And we've got 149 from capital funds, which are the matches for those, and that leaves about 418. And now we're adding in another 200. So we're still actively for the 27, more than likely because of the review pushed us the whole schedule over. So we do have another year or so. No, well, I mean, right, we had in here, 40,000 for right-of-way legal, but no.
And the right.
I don't know, Chris, what are the recommendations for the easements? Are they temporary or permanent?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, I couldn't hear anything she said for some reason. Like I said, there will be both. More than likely, there will be permanent, for this area here. So this area here is basically buttressing the existing, retaining wall. That way we don't have to remove it. I know the other side is failing, and I know that they said they've put a water line down through here since this thing was constructed, but it looks like from the pictures, originally these retaining walls were actually connected together by cables. So if those have all been severed, then yeah, who knows the condition of either of those walls. So anyways, yes, there would be permanent slope rights in this area. There'd be temporary construction rights. And there'd probably, there'll be some permanent rights on weanings as well. Slope rights anyways.
Okay.
Those, the easements aren't too costly, particularly the temporary. It'll obviously be the purchasing of the ASMG property. Will be the big bulk of it.
Right, so we need to, a recommendation from Chris was to sort of, because we can sort of start working on that now, would be to hire someone to do the appraisal of the property. So we have a starting point to talk to Adam about that. The last time I spoke with him, which was a few months ago, just when we sort of got back in to talking about this project after the evaluation that went through, Adam, isn't interested in granting easements. He doesn't want to sell it. And so we need to figure out what it's worth and what we're willing to pay for it, because that could be a big additional chunk of money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that we can't move forward without.
So Chris, that 1.2 you just showed us was based on this year's construction cost. You're saying you're 2 years out, so we're conservatively could say 1.5 by 27.
It could, yeah. Hopefully that 15% contingency, eats up some of that. But
Doesn't feel like costs are going up that slowly. So it's probably pretty accurate. Well, I guess we have some appraisals to do and conversations to have before we can really move forward with this project. So
Yeah, I think Frida is actively pursuing grant funding for this, because we still have, the grants that we have we're still within those windows, even though this project is taking a little longer than we thought, but we still obviously need a lot more.
estimate on the price of that property we need.
Is there any, and I'm only asking because it's gonna add to
Speak up so
value.
Chris can hear you.
Is there anything that can be done with that property if we don't use it for slope stabilization?
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
You mean the green property?
Yeah. So you didn't hear me?
Chris,
that was for me. What would you have in mind?
I don't know, is it a suitable building lot? Is there,
So,
What
go ahead.
currently do with it? I've been down there, but I'm not,
It's a pretty steep slope, isn't it?
yes.
yeah, but if he's contours
here,
there, it kind
yeah.
of flattens out the last.
It flattens out a bit. So when Chris and I talked about this, we went through a bunch of different things. You in the past have mentioned a bunch of times about development. The hardest thing is access. When we rebuild the road, you still have a steep road that it's very hard to access the property to get in there. It's
have
blocked
to
in
go
on
all
all
the way
sides
down
and
the
at the
bottom.
top of the slope.
Yeah.
So even if you developed it in the simplest way as a park, where you could have a steeper gradient, kind of like it is now, and level it off, it's still the access to get down there to actually enjoy a park. Any kind of construction, you need access from the road, and this road, because of the grade, it's just almost impossible to not cross someone else's land to be able to get to that spot.
I still like the idea I had in 2008, which was to
Put parking garage.
build a parking garage with a centrifuge under it and clean the parking
Hang
garage
on,
down.
let me,
to the-
let me just
Yeah.
type a few more zeros on
Yeah,
our
well,
budget here.
we have parking issues on the main street, we have, you know, we have stormwater treatment issues, we have.
Yeah,
Chris, if I remember right, and Peter can correct me, I thought the water line runs up the center of the road from that big hydrant down at the bottom of the basin by the water. And they put that in the late nineties, did they, Peter, when we built the
Yeah,
new,
That's what he's saying,
it runs up the middle of the road.
Yes, that's correct.
Basin Street, it runs up and then it runs down, heads east on East Street and crosses somewhere by the Bingham property with a new 12-inch going to the new reservoir, I believe. My
Yeah,
memory.
I'm not sure on the East Street portion, but no, you're absolutely right on the Basin Street.
That's the new line that crosses the river crossing, that fills the new reservoir. Well, not so new now, but the new
30 years.
30 years old now.
okay. All right, any more, Chris, in terms of this?
Nope, just any questions from you. You know, one thing you might want to do, either through Pat or one of yourselves, is to, you know, contact Peter Pochop at the state with your concerns, and he may have other ideas or suggestions. I mean, if you wait to get the funding, then you're still, you know, 18 months to 2 years from getting to completion of the rest, getting it through the rest of the process, right? So there may be advantageous to continue to get it through the process. And there may be, you know, the ability to get additional funding through them, but I know that doesn't come until you're, you know, out getting it ready for construction. So,
Chris, you said that culvert crossing is going to go from a 24 to a 30 or a 36?
36.
the crossing, so the only pipe currently going into the drainage basin in front of Bristol Financials is a 24. So previously I had exited that and came across the road with a 24, but based on a conversation with Ian that he had with Eric, I think there was a suggestion to upsize that to 30. So that's what I'm currently showing.
With all the, you know, with all the weather we're having, extreme more water, would it, I mean, one more cost is laying the pipe is the same amount of money when you put stone around it. Would it up it to 36 and be ready? And maybe put 2 catch basins there so the groundwater, I don't know, I'm not the engineer. So I just get a question. Put a 36.
Well, yeah, I mean, you never, who knows, right? Everything's getting bigger with all these storms. I mean, 36 is a big pipe. And we can do that. But as I was telling Ian, it's a much bigger, you know, out of scope item to, you know, evaluate the village's water system for, you know, for that. So yeah, like I said, there's only 24 going into it now. So we were exiting with 24, but it also makes sense to, you know, upsize in preparation for maybe another culvert coming in and tying into that in the future, or an upsize system.
What I'm thinking is if it's a 24 is filling it, then the groundwater that's coming from the sky, that 24 is coming from up the street and from the Shaw's parking lots and all those groundwater areas. And
do you actually have problems with the basin in front of Bristol Financial, or is it just across the street?
I don't know, what's Eric's question?
There's not really. Now, there's not really any problems when we did, Steven put that other pipe in and stuff, it was
Right.
pretty much cured it coming out of the basin, or out of that catch basin. So what water is running there now, it seems to be handling it pretty decent.
Okay.
So moving it to a 30-inch coming across, I think
Yeah.
would be sufficient.
Yeah, and we're 36 from there. Once it comes across the street to that basin, we're 36 all the way down the hill.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to have a tremendous amount of rain to be able to fill that thing in a short time.
The smooth bore will actually, the 30-inch smooth bore will actually handle a 36-inch corrugated. That amount of water. Like,
Oh, okay.
Smooth bore.
That's why I just asked.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, Chris.
Yep, thank you. Oops,
Sorry.
stop sharing here.
With the ASM property, you're gonna have to go in and subdivide it so that you can file as a separate lot.
No.
No, it's separated by the roadway. So it's a separate,
All one-
yeah, it's a separate
all
lot.
allowed.
Yes,
Anything separated by a road is a
separate lot.
separate lot.
You don't have to subdivide it off.
Well, that's handy.
I guess I have a question for the board members is, because we have this project and I'm just gonna throw out numbers. I hate throwing out numbers, but let's say we're $500,000 short.
We're already 600,000 short.
Right. We don't get any more grants. We get a few more grants, but when we get all done, ready to start digging, we're $500,000 short. And at Fix Briggs Hill, we're, let's say, another $500,000 short. Would it prove to us we bond for a road construction grant, a road construction bond for like 30 years when the interest rates maybe in a few years will drop, and get that money banked, start paying on it? Just a question. I'm not expecting an answer tonight, just a thought. It's because we still have a Briggs Hill question to answer, and
I don't think you can. I don't think you can borrow money and
Not have it on a
not
specific
have it
project.
spent.
or could we spend it up front and hold the grant money for later on this same project? That's what I just was a thought. Start paying on a 30-year note or a 25-year note
I know
for
they,
road construction bond payment,
yeah, they don't allow you
like we're doing on West Street right now.
to borrow money to save it.
Yeah, I mean, Briggs Hill, I think, is, as we've previously stated, on pause indefinitely until we have a way forward for that. At the moment, we don't. The amount of projects we have, especially coming up in the next 2 or 3 years, we will definitely need to borrow money to be able to accommodate those projects. Some we can move from one area to another internally to be able to cover because we can get reimbursement fairly quickly. The water line project will be one that we'll more than likely need to borrow for because of the sheer amount of money that will be going out. So that'll be its own separate thing. This, because of the additional funds now, when we're 600,000 short, at least our estimation might be another, but if we can get grant funding for it and cover the majority, then the rest would be our capital.
Well, what I say that because we take a year or two to get more grants and it goes up 300, 200, 300.
No, I know.
No,
You never tail never catches.
Yeah.
Never catching our tail. Going around the circle, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a complex project. It's sort of, when you look at it, it's just, oh, why is a road costing 1.2 million? But it's much more than that. It's the entire slope and embankment, a redesign of our stormwater system, which is everything that comes off Main Street and from the Prince Lane properties. So it's a much bigger project than just road stabilization or road, and we're changing the entire road and making it much safer, but it's something where.
Chris, you're gonna be tying the stormwater off of Mountain Street into that as well at some point, right? I thought,
So the only thing that's coming across it now will be tying into it. There's somewhere at the bottom of Mountain Street, there's a catch basin, then there's a culvert that kitty corners across the Basin Street intersection with East Street, and it outlets onto the slope between, let's say, Basin and Main. That we are extending and tying into this system.
Is that gonna tie into that box inlet in front of Bristol Financial or
no.
on the?
No, it'll be well down the hill.
Roll down the hill. Oh, okay.
How much water is moving through there now?
There's a 54-inch pipe at the bottom.
It's actually 36.
How much water-
Sorry.
How big
Yeah,
the pipe
sure.
is moving?
Oh, that's what it's been.
No, it was a 48 or a 54 took out. And we put the plastic in.
Yeah, so that one there we put back in, there was a 48.
They brought it to know, right?
From 48, so
Depends on how
42.
much it rains.
Yeah.
We put it in 42 will rain the same amount water the corrugated pipe
now versus when it, because they're tying in the other water.
Mhm.
Are we at is there a risk of if this project doesn't happen with rains and flooding that has occurred up here?
I mean, Eric, you guys know your bank better than me. I think, I don't think there's a risk from that perspective.
And we have lost some of that bank.
We've lost some of it.
Where you've had to throw some more.
The 24 goes down over the bank. The 24-inch goes to the bottom of the bank, and then there's a smaller one east of that runs over the bank. And when that plugged and failed, it took the shoulder.
When did that happen?
5 years ago.
5 years
4
ago,
or 5 years
4 or
ago.
5 years ago.
And we've since
Cobbled it together.
cobbled it together. Yeah.
Yes, we can.
We could probably shoot bubble gum and walk at the same time. Thanks, Chris. Well, I'll be soon and we'll go over your next steps and our next steps and get a better indication where we are.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Time.
Do we at least start the, your, not you personally, but the investigating of starting buying the land or no?
Yeah, I think we should
Yeah.
figure
Come
out.
up with
how-
We had to figure out if we can afford land. That's the first step. If we can't get the land.
And he doesn't want to do easements.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't give us a choice.
Yeah.
It's either
Right.
we buy it.
Jimmy's good. Mhm. Right, you either buy it or you're not doing the project.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you put it in a rock and a
Yeah.
hard place. Jimmy has a question.
Peter, I know I asked this one before, but I don't. Everybody's talking about putting a bridge across. What was the problem with that?
You wouldn't get the state to approve it,
Would get the state to approve.
right, if I remember right, putting it from Pump House
Yeah.
Road over. I think we said the state wouldn't approve going across the river.
And more than likely, the cost of doing that would be
More
greater than
more
this
than
project,
this project.
because of the
I believe it.
It'd be a couple $1 million for a bridge to cross the river.
And you'd have to do a lot of major upgrade to the road.
Yeah.
That's pretty
No,
narrow.
it's good. I mean, we're looking at everything because we're sort of so locked into this.
You gotta think outside the box, Jimmy. That's why I wanted the parking garage.
That's what I said all along.
When we first saw the drawing,
You
you
start-
start going through that.
Yeah, that's what
You
I said. a parking garage,
you start charging a monthly fee, we could pay that off.
Yeah.
It solves it.
I'll be long dead by.
It solves our down street parking, it solves our stormwater, and it solves our access.
Maybe this is your retirement project.
Yeah, okay.
He's got several years before he retires, many years.
All right, are we done with that?
Yes.
We are,
And Greg will touch base with you once we get clear direction, Chris.
yeah.
All right, moving on, Seth Hill
We're
Waterworks update.
Okay, so we need to do
You
some
have 2
work.
minutes, talk quick.
No, I know. Well, I created a timeline, which I'll share later on. We don't need to go back through it. Essentially, we're at a point where the project needs to be altered to be able to accommodate Forest Service rules and regulations. So we're at a point where we're being asked by Don Gale, who is our sugar maker who uses that space, to be able to, he's asking for the town's assistance to make some of the alterations to the bar. Speaking with Christopher Matrick at the USDA Forest Service, he talked about reducing the number of water bars by half and then cutting the water bars down a little bit so that it accommodates off-road vehicles as well as high clearance trucks. Don has volunteered to do the work and he is reticent, it seems, to use his own tractor, probably because of the difficulty. It's quite a long stretch of road. There are a number of water bars there. And so he's asking whether, his question to us was, could he use be taught to use town equipment? We have policy that we don't allow outside other than the employees of the public works to use that equipment, but we would want to make a decision on how that work gets done. Do we leave Don to do it and he has the details from the Forest Service, or do we help with it? Since we have equipment that can do that probably much quicker and much easier than his equipment.
I'm not in favor of sending our equipment up there. You know, we took the sidewalk prep away from Eric because we felt he didn't have time to do that, and that serves the community as a whole. And I understand this stretch of woods has its niche of people that it services. And I guess my question is, did the plans get changed from the original design that was submitted?
Yes. So the timeline essentially was when David originally did the project, he was looking at 100 bars on old trails roads. Those were deemed to be acceptable in terms of erosion. Then the actual truck roads were looked at. This was still when we thought the jurisdiction of the truck roads belonged to the town of Bristol. It's our property, those are our roads. David looked at the truck roads, made a recommendation to have the 40 bars put in. This was sent to the previous town administrator along with regional planning. It was decided this would move forward. It didn't come to the select board for approval. So it was a change in scope of the project. It went forward. Unfortunately, Don Gale wasn't kept in the loop when the construction happened. Those changes were made. The project was done. David did his report. And then after the fact, we learned that the land, that particular roads are active roads for the Forest Service, and we don't own them. It's actually been deeded to them. It did go through the Forest Service as well. David sent his plan to them, and it was approved by them. He was told that it was, let's take a look here. I can give you some details. The forest road in question is in our systems and is FR 348A, and it's classified ML1. This means maintenance level 1, which equates to a road with little to no maintenance that we don't use. We have no concerns with and appreciate you taking action to fix erosion issues on this road at the non-federal land, and understand that the installation of drainage dips rather than culverts means that the road will be more difficult to travel. We do suggest that you coordinate with Don Gale, as you know, who's likely to still use the road. So David sent that information, the Forest Service approved it. The Forest Service has since then said, oh, we actually didn't look at it. We should have looked at this in more detail. We didn't realize that these roads were ours and they were active and they weren't, you know, essentially the work that was done is for roads that were going to be closed. And it was still an active road. So that's where we're at.
So are they gonna provide some funding to fix that?
I don't know. That's a question we could ask.
I mean, they approved it.
It's their road. Don's been willing all along just to be able to get access to what he needs to get access to do the work. But he's at a point now, I think, where he sort of sees maybe the size and the scope of the work, and he's asking for town assistance with that. I don't know if we go back and speak with Chris at the Forest Service to say, hey, because we have email evidence that you approve this, is it possible to get the ability to do it?
Some help.
You know, yeah, does Don ask you for help?
How long does this project take to fix?
I mean,
How long will this project take to fix?
He did the original design.
Got it.
Yeah. Forester.
I went out today, and it's been years since the road been in, there's really washing rainstorm. There is zero soil. Our goal in the project was to slow spread and sink the flow and reduce phosphorus deposition in the Lake Champlain. We have done that. And the road that is in question with Forest Service is a road that is very steep. It's over 20% grade in some sections. And so it's the designs that we did are based on the US Forest Service Kuya Experiment Station, and they have been a boilerplate for the AMP practices in Vermont for over 40 years. And so it is what it is. The Forest Service can do what the Forest Service wants to do because they own they hold the easement on the thing.
Sounds like they told us to do the wrong thing with their property.
Well,
Am I missing this?
well, the deal is that their status is their relationship with their road system is not as good as your relationship is with your road system at this point in time. Your road system is 100% compliance with the AMPs. There's this, and yours is not eroding. There's this. So I understand that the thing with Don, I believe I can work with Don. I mean, he doesn't need to get up there that much. And he has put in poles and it's good. He's put in little things just to reduce the depth. But with a road that's 20% grade, you gotta have a dip, you gotta have a deep dip if you're gonna catch it. Or you can actually turn it into a permanent road. The Forest Service wants it kind of like both ways. They don't want to have to put in the money of a permanent road, but they want to get some of the easiness of complying with regulations without it. So one way to do it would be to turn it into a permanent road. And there's piles of timber beyond that permanent road. Piles of beautiful sugar maple timber.
Timbers that on
Some of the
town
best
land
timber I've
or
ever seen.
national forest?
Yeah.
No,
So-
which, both? It's on both? Timbers on both?
It's not. It's Forest Service, and it's beautiful. timber.
Is with the water bars in their current state, is the road not
But
accessible?
if we go in and if they operate that timber sale up there, they're gonna upgrade it just like they did the last time. They're gonna put in new culverts, they're gonna make it so it's suitable for trucks and all that kind of thing. But it is 20% grade. It's a very difficult thing to maintain. And so, my thought would be, if I was in your shoes, I would just sort of say, the Forest Service can and will do what it wants to do. However, in the regs or the guidelines that they sent us, which are not easy to interpret, you've got to get into the universal soil loss equations and a whole bunch of other stuff. And so the bottom line is, in there, they say, these are our specs, and we will work really hard to implement local BMPs. What we have done is implemented local BMPs. In Vermont, we call them AMPs. So if it was me, I would just say, okay, it's your road, take care of it. Now, I want to say something about Don. He's an amazing sugar maker. I know him, I want him to succeed, I think he can succeed. He's doing a great job on US Forest Service with the way he taps, the way he puts his tubing out, the way he deals with trash and stuff. He's a great land steward. But the road that the Forest Service is asking him to maintain, rather than them to maintain, is beyond his scope. And so the Forest Service, they got the road, they got the timber. Why wouldn't they simply take ownership of the upgrade it the way they want? And then we'll keep monitoring it. We'll see how well it stands up compared to what we've done.
Are his vehicles incapable of maintaining his business because of the water?
He can't get his truck up there anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
he
problem.
can, but you know,
He uses a
He-
side
he-
by side or a tractor or
he's
something.
done some work, and one of the things I was gonna propose, just to say to you, is there's all sorts of beautiful 4 to 6 inch poles go right on up till you get to the Forest Service line. And it wouldn't take too many hours to fell those trees and set them into the bottoms of those broad-based tips, just to raise them up a bit. Mountain bikes are getting through, they're fine, but this would raise it up a bit. And it would be to simply say, do that. Put the poles in. Keep an eye on them. It's your responsibility to keep them functioning. Because you're in the current use program and you've signed a contract saying that you will keep the soil from eroding. So that's what I would do. And it won't cost the town a nickel, and it'll make the Forest Service take responsibility for its own roads. And this is not you're not the only town in Vermont that's dealing with this. This is this is kind of a cool drama. And I think it's interesting, and I think we have a year under our belt with this road up through there. It's not perfect. People don't like it because there's stone, it doesn't match what it used to be, and they used to ride their horses up there and they have to move around a little bit and stuff, but in terms of people are using the property, and in terms of the stability of the road, and in terms of meeting to the letter your obligation with the AMPs, with your current use appraisal, you're doing it.
So if we altered it, then we would be in violation of state or Vermont AMPs. Is that correct?
No, it would be, the Forest Service wants to put it to their regulations, which seem to be slightly different than what was done. There are a lot of bars. It is hard to get up there with even off-road vehicles. Don's looking to have less or another vehicle that's lower to the ground, and I don't know, that doesn't seem like that's gonna be suitable, even if they take out some of the bars and level some of them off.
The Basin Street project that you spoke about is related to this project, because that's the headwaters. When that water comes ripping down through, it's not slow spread and sinking the flow through the sponginess of the forest, and it's just ripping from that elevation toward Bristol. It's powerful, it's an erosive agent, you know, and so you have, in terms of your roads, the truck roads, done a remarkable job to make it so that it's as good as it can get. And they could, if the Forest Service thinks they know how to do it better, I would say they own it. They should pony up.
I mean, in real life, what do we get, $800 to $1,000 in sugar town money
$1,000 about.
a year?
And what are we paying taxes?
About 400,
That's gonna say 500-600.
But I just want to say that, I mean, out of my own high, I want to see Don succeed.
Yeah, I do too.
I really do. And so, you know, if I could get, if you would just give me permission, I'll check in with Don and say, hey, the town, we got this pole stuff, we'll take out the poplars and the gradu in favor of the sugar maples as they go up the hill, and you know, Vermont Family Forest will donate some work to do that. And,
He actually talked to me about a month ago. We were at a memorial on Sunday and we talked about it. And I said, well, maybe Speaker and I on the board for some time to take a side-by-side crew up through there and try to at least.
Go up there on our little tour, road tour.
I mean, at this point, Forest Service has told us to do a thing, we did a thing, it was the incorrect thing. We don't wanna spend any more money, we don't wanna ruin our relationships. It feels like the easy, most common sense thing here is make it so it fixes Don's issue, and yet we leave it as is. We don't wanna put our own town workers at risk, cause like you said, it's 20% grade. And then we let the Forest Service figure it out from there because they told us what to do. So you guys
They
are comfortable
approved,
with
right.
proposing a solution to.
My concern with that, even though that's a nice offer from David, is that it's not gonna meet what the Forest Service wants for the road.
But
It seems like
we've
they've
already done it.
they've told us,
No, we're down there.
they've told us what they want with the road since a mistake was made.
Yeah, but the mistake was approved by them, so to me, it's their
Yeah,
responsibility.
we're done here with.
Yeah, the number of water bars installed are excessive, approximately double what are necessary for a Forest Service maintenance level 1 road. We are reducing the number of water bars by approximately half. The depth and angle of the water bars are too deep and too steep to allow for passage of high clearance vehicles or OHVs. We are reducing the angle of approach of the remaining water bars to allow for safe passage to our 2 maple tapping permittees who utilize the road to access their permit areas and for Forest Service.
And that, they sent that to me.
Yeah,
Forest
the work,
Service,
the
so let 'em do
work,
it.
work performed filled in several existing side ditches and disconnected blocked or at least 2 culverts on these side of the ditches. We will be restoring the side ditches. And the we is sort of Don, but I think he's asking us. So I think
Who's the email from?
this is from Chris.
Forest Service?
Matrix, District Ranger. So I think we just need to contact him and say,
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how about it?
yes. And I don't,
I mean,
I don't know what
if
that
you
looks
did-
like for Don.
I'd say if they're not willing to fix it, then we take Dave up on his offer to go up there and put poles in them and soften them.
Okay,
Right.
and there are some in there already, but not all of them.
Are
So,
you good with it?
I'm great.
okay. Okay, it's fine. And then we reach back out to him. I mean, we have email that they approve this. They told
Yeah.
us what kind of road it was. They told us this was fine.
We know, the board knows that it's all in the words because should, could, might,
May.
may,
Yeah.
is put it right to us on Pine Street, so.
Yes. Yeah,
So
Okay.
they can put it right to them.
Yeah.
it is, but it's not a very good one.
No.
I went up there a few days ago and looked at it just to get an idea.
Yeah,
make
I'm
sure.
gonna get up there this
And
week.
I've done a whole breakdown of the whole thing. Yeah, there was just, unfortunately, it's a combination of things where Don wasn't informed what was going on, that he didn't have time to respond as the work was being done. And also we had the change in project scope that never came toward the board.
Was it more of a closeout or was it a maintenance?
First thing I wanna say is I tried to get reached on when the excavators wanna hop, they hop. And so I heard that Matt was ready to go, and so I called Don, they were on vacation, so it wasn't
Okay.
like, I reached out to him repeatedly over the
Okay.
course of the project. as well as the Forest Service, as well as so it's not like I'm trying to hide or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
No, and I look back, I mean, I have communication for the entire project, all the emails and all the emails are there, you know.
Right.
I was concerned that the project scope, the change of scope wasn't documented, but I found the emails that you detailed in terms of, this is where we're at now, this is what we, since we still have the grant, we'd like to be able to do this work. It came to Valerie, it did not come back to us for that change in scope, but it was approved by the Forest Service, so.
The change in scope came from the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources.
Right.
And they came out on the field, looked at it and said, yeah, you could do work in the woods for sure, but these roads are addressed. And so that's where they said, focus on the roads. That's what.
They they wanted us to fix their road on
Well-
our dime and not their
Well,
dime.
no, but also, I think at that time, we didn't realize, because of the easement, that we actually didn't own the roads, that the roads themselves were owned by, since the seventies, by the Forest Service. We knew there were Forest Service roads, but it's not an easement.
Since the seventies.
We got super generous.
We tried to sell it, we tried to sell the property.
Just said, doing work, but we don't even
Yeah.
have to.
We tried to sell the property
So
15, 20 years ago and the public wouldn't have it.
I think we should sell it. Going
Brought
up
it
there,
up at town meeting
it's a
and-
lovely property, but I can't imagine we would do anything with it, even if we kept it. And I know that Jill has spoken in the past in terms of our water source, if we ever had to change what we have now, but given the distance, it's 4 miles.
If it got $1 million
No, I know.
to do a section of the village.
Yeah, how much would, I mean, apparently it was 50,000 to do this in 1905, to do the piping from there,
Oh, it was
which was
all-
4 miles of pipe.
Chinese hand labor.
No, it's Italian. That's what's in your report, when you did your report for, the conservation plan. That was in there. You worked with, Reg to sort of get that information. And I looked at the two, Bristol history books, and there's a little bit in there. It's not detailed. Reg seemed to find more. But apparently, yeah, it was Italians and they ran it, but I still find it hard to believe, given that even at 50,000 back then in 1906 was a hell of a lot of money. I find it hard to believe that we could actually get that money and run 4 miles of pipe from there down to here, or up to our reservoir.
In a year's time.
Yeah, I still can't imagine us doing that, but apparently that's what happened, so. But I don't know if we'd ever use it for anything, sorry, David. I do think we should think about selling it. It's worth around 200-something thousand according to the latest appraisal, but. Yeah, and we would never use it for recreation. It's just too far up there. Like, I'd never gone up there. I drove up there and literally it's just driving for miles to reach it. I thought it was much closer.
Thinking Lincoln is that way.
I know, but like, you know, and the Forest Service, I mentioned this when I talked to Chris, and he said they're interested, that it takes years for them to be able to get to a point where they might purchase some property. So I do think we should consider that. I can't imagine we would ever do anything with it, but sorry, David.
it's not costing you a lot to hold it, but
That's
if you
correct.
want to sell.
Yeah.
It's good, the Forest Service will pay the highest price.
Mm.
And so you get into they surround it, it's very logical for
Yeah.
them to own it. And if they actually owned it, they could on their own land, and they could actually flatten the roads.
But with that would take, not on our tax.
Okay.
tax
It's not on their tax. It's on
Tax.
Lincoln's tax.
Yeah.
Is the old.
Thank you.
building
Thank you for coming tonight.
Way up at the head wall. Is the old building still, must be all gone by now, and the old,
Just the foundation.
just the foundation. Last time I was there, it was pretty well fallen.
Yeah, it's good, it's
Okay,
good.
Peter Ryan.
Go for a hike, it's beautiful.
First guy.
Yeah,
Thanks for your work.
It's lovely up there.
Just bring your bug dope.
All right. So do you want to make a motion in terms of moving that along, or is it just consensus from us?
I think it's consensus.
Consensus.
Okay, consensus to reach back out to the
Before he
Forest Service.
checks the Forest Service and tell them to fix it.
Or buy it.
But we have to put our water commissioners down, because that's water.
Yeah.
That's all my water.
We need money more, we need headaches.
That's the water department, the water department.
All right, we're gonna talk more about water now. Water Commission update and approval of the latest Bristol Water Use Ordinance Policy Revision and Appendix Updates.
Okay, so we've all looked at the ordinance. I think we're all set on that. The only thing that changed tonight would be the
Appendix.
yes, and so I'll share that now. And we talked a bit about that a few days ago in our meeting where we did an emergency response to the water line on South Street. So this was what we've been looking at. This is the highlighted yellow is in Appendix C, which is our construction specifications for service lines. So originally, we required all service line connections to be 3/4 inch type K copper. With fast compression couplings and at any connection points. The one that
Did
we
you bring a
approved,
pipe?
the one that we approved on Wednesday, I think it was last Wednesday, for the South Street repair. Was using CTS, and these details came from our water operator, Jill. The specifications for that particular installation, but I think going forward. We'd be looking at using this, putting this language in this document and approving this, so. People who are connecting to our water line have the option of either type K copper or using CTS with tracer wire, things like that. And I know that you've always been a huge fan of copper, but are moving towards this, but also you mentioned at that meeting, talking about.
I'd like,
Certain length that we determine that you have to use copper, or, one of the main things is because of the cost. The cost of this is, at the moment, is 10 times less than using any type of copper. You also have benefits in terms of longer runs without having to have connections or joints.
yeah, no joints, it's easier to work with, the less chance of kink in putting it in. I mean, it's being used everywhere. I don't, the whole. When you get outside of a water district, everybody's water is in plastic. You know,
Like
if you
well.
have a well, if you have a deep well like your house, the pipe going into your well is plastic, the pipe going to your house is plastic.
Mine is not.
You're in the house is not.
No, you're.
What?
Got copper coming into my basement from my,
I ran,
not the one to the barn.
okay.
I do have a tiny bit of feedback from Friday's project.
Sure.
And then I had another conversation with our suppliers to understand a little bit more about CTS more than I had previously. So number one is that the tracer wire actually needs to be like somehow affixed to the pipe so that they don't separate, and all of a sudden you're tracing a wire that's 3 feet away or 6 feet away from where the pipe was laid because it's moving around as it's getting backfilled. So the
Be like wrapped around it.
I think basically they could just use a little bit of electrical tape or something, and it just needs to get attached to the top of the CTS pipe. Yep.
Okay.
There we go. That's exactly the word that we need. So I learned that. The other thing that I learned from Bill today was, I guess you can get 3/4 CTS in up to a 400-foot length, but he said once you go past 200 feet with 3/4 CTS, the friction loss is so great that you don't have enough flow. So it's an engineering thing, but I think it's important for us to understand that whomever is designing these waterline replacements for particular buildings with particular flows, if there's greater length, there may be some design consideration wherein they need to increase the size of the line to not have too much friction loss for the flows that they need in their building.
Where would we capture that information?
It's so tricky because it's like an engineering specification.
So I guess
we
it,
ask Steve.
yeah, we
If
can ask Steve. It would be outside of this document then, right?
No, it could be in the required lines.
Okay.
Just say anything over this.
Anything over X amount of feet.
Yeah, I think we want to say any CTS over 200 feet needs to be up. If it's spec'd to be a 3/4, or if it's a 3/4 being replaced, needs to actually be increased in size to 1 inch because of friction loss.
Okay, so what was the amount?
So any run over 200 feet. Yep, any CTS run over 200 feet. And this is that same area where when we have a long line, we're asking for meter pits. And that's already addressed elsewhere in the body of the ordinance, where these long cross-country lines that can be lost and leaking and never seen because they're going through like, wetlands or giant thickets or different types of situations where you just would never see it. It's kind of like those longer runs are where we're gonna have our issues. And it's not in this draft, and I'm just gonna say out loud, we continue to not want fused HDPE in the water system due to it being a completely different technology. It needs different fittings. The likelihood of a contractor coming in and doing a weekend repair and putting barbs and stainless steel clamps, which is not appropriate for our water system, happening is way too high. And it would mean carrying all kinds of extra materials to make repairs. So I think it's better to make sure that we're just saying, you know what, 3/4 copper and 3/4 CTS, they use all the same fittings. It's the same, it's generally the same things that you need. You do cut CTS with a different tool, but it's like, it's virtually the same thing. If you've got a truck full of parts and a pump room full of parts, you're not having to buy another entire shelf full of parts to be able to put everything together, nor is your contractor that's working on the customer side of the line.
Okay.
It's all the same compression fittings, just have to have the brass or the stainless inserts.
You just
Okay.
gotta have the inserts and you gotta have the tracer wire. So it seems to me like a pretty natural progression where going to the fused HDPE is like a big leap and a potential for a lot of flow restricted
Yeah, we don't want
issues.
that, Jill.
Nope.
For this particular line here, requirements for lines up to 2 inches. Can we make that more, I can't understand that. Is it, we're saying it's 3/4 inch, but what's
Oh,
the
you know
line?
what? It's not 3/4 inch type K copper. It's type K copper. 3/4 inch to 2 inch is what we want. It depending on what size is designed.
Okay, so we would just do this, and then would we do the same thing here like that?
Yes, it is actually. You're right. That would be from anything from.
I wasn't sure if the 2 inch was something else and this is connected to the 2 inch, but it's not. It's good.
Yeah, and whoever's designing the water service is the one that's going to do the flow coefficients for what size they need.
Given the information you gave us about what not to use, we're not gonna put anything in this about that. We're just gonna put in what we are.
What we accept.
Okay,
If it isn't here, you
it's not
can't.
that. Okay, that's what I figured. I don't wanna
Yeah.
introduce.
I
Oh,
just
it was-
wanted to say it as like, if you guys are hearing as a water commission, somebody saying, I want to use fused HDP, it's like, no.
Okay. All right, I will work on the C,
Joel,
sort of figuring out the length.
waiting for you.
Well, I took a lot of what I said the other day to her. I pondered that, I beat the pillow all night long thinking of that statement. Is I'd like to see this stay at K copper and just say any deviation from that must be approved by the board. IT, CTS. Like, I get what Picker was saying, a 200-foot run, that's expensive. That's $2,000 in copper. I know what it is. I bought 100 feet of it the other day. But you got a 25-foot run in the village from a house that's had an old galvanized. 25 feet is gonna cost you $250 in copper and it's done with. We don't have to ever worry about it.
I wouldn't say you don't have to ever worry about.
Well, to some extent. Copper will last twice as long in 100 years from now than the CTS probably in this acidic soil. I took that with what Si said about, what about, I don't wanna end up like in Bennington where they have all the PC something.
Yeah, but that was in the
I don't-
water, that's not.
Right, but I just,
Yeah, there are some unknowns with this, even though it's been used.
somebody's got a 25-foot run and most of the runs probably aren't more than 40 feet tops. From a curb stop to a village home. Most of them that need the 70 odd that we need to be replaced. We're only talking about 70 odd connections, I believe.
Right, if it's our knowns that.
Our knowns that we know are galvanized.
Correct, but we're also talking about any new connection to any new home
Right.
potentially.
I get it, but that's 200 feet out in the field.
Yeah, I mean, we could specify a particular length and go beyond that. We are basing that on.
When it's gonna cost them more.
Personally, either you allow it or you don't.
Yeah,
Well, take out the copper then, because it's done with,
that
nobody's gonna put copper in.
Well,
I don't
you have
think-
to specify that type K copper can be used. we're specifying that,
They can't just put any type of copper.
right.
No,
Take
yes,
that, right.
exactly.
But you're
I mean,
right,
this is,
just like Si said, once we open it up, you're gonna choose the cheaper option, if you're allowed to,
Absolutely.
which is, but yeah, I mean, we could put it in there where it's
We
a.
cheapen our system for their benefit. That's why I wanna ask.
I don't believe that's the case. I mean, I can understand Jill's reasoning for wanting copper and being able, it's easier to trace. You don't have to worry about a tracer wire. There are a lot of things you don't have to worry about, but the other side of it is that these products, as far as being safe, you're drinking out of a plastic water bottle right now.
Yeah.
If you're worried about what's coming from the plastic, how come you don't have a stainless steel water jug that you're filling yourself? Yeah.
No, I know, but and there's always findings. I mean, this stuff has been used for decades. As has larger materials and other types of plastic for water lines, so it's one of those things.
Why don't we just make this, if you guys can make consensus, just make this the bare minimum. With the option to do the copper as well. If you're that concerned about, your water, like.
That's true.
And it's to the standard, we know it's fine, then we implore you, use whatever that works,
That's
but at bare minimum,
Yes.
this.
This is what we recommend.
It's all we use, it's all we use in Arizona, it's 200 degrees there. And
Yeah.
we're fine.
Well,
They'll-
yes, to be determined.
Jill, the tracer wire is, so if somebody's got 200 feet of plastic out through there and they're going, boy, I don't get a lot of pressure. Then you hook onto the tracer wire and say, well, you don't have a leak. Is that determined only the leak or does
It
it?
just tells you where the pipe is.
Location. Just the
No,
location.
actually, Joel's making a good point. It is harder to hear a leak on plastic
You-
than on copper.
You can't hear a leak on plastic over copper.
So you get 200 feet and they go, we're getting no pressure, and you hook onto the tracer wire. That's just telling you, okay, we knew where the line was. Well, they knew where the line was. They went from one point to another somewhat. So where do you start digging? You dig the whole 200 feet up, or?
If you're in Bristol, because it drains so good, yes, because you're not going to hear the leak on the plastic line. It doesn't do what copper does for sound. Copper is a conductive metal, so it's sort of like an instrument where plastic is not.
How many lines did we dig up last year?
I don't know, maybe just 20.
Huh?
How many,
20.
like service lines and mains?
No, service lines.
Yeah.
Maybe
Service line.
20. Maybe 20. That what's precipitating more service lines to be dug up than on a normal year is the service line inventory and the new requirements coming under new lead and copper regulations from the feds getting dropped down on the states.
But that cost is at the homeowner's cost. That's not our cost.
Very
No.
much
So-
is owner's cost, yes.
Put in the plastic and they got a leak, they're paying to
Yeah.
dig the whole thing up.
For the particular service lines project, we're still trying to determine where those costs might come. I mean, not costs, but where those.
Payment.
Yes.
Or the
might come from.
funds, yeah.
And, if we're wanting to help people because this is something that we're being forced to do,
Mhm.
it's trying to find that balance. So, given that, CTS, at least if we're looking at subsidizing some of that, CTS is a better financial sense for us instead of using copper. But most are fairly short runs, but
Why is it better for us?
It's
It's
cheaper.
cheaper.
yeah.
Cheaper for the home. It's cheaper for the home.
Well,
We don't know
we
that.
haven't determined yet. Part of it was a discussion of can we use federal or the state money to be able to do that, the replacement.
Oh,
But
the 70 odd or whatever.
It was
No.
50%, yeah, it was 50% more to go with that system because it's federal money. We made the determination
it's
not
federal
to
money.
accept that.
Federal money, you have to allow the CTS.
Right. So we made the decision not to go in that direction because we felt that doing it privately, we don't have the responsibility of all the liability, getting all the easements and things like that, because the town is replacing service lines. It's up to the homeowner, but at the same time, there are a good deal of those homeowners, more than likely, who this will be a complete surprise to. I mean, they won't because we're gonna let them know, but they're not gonna have 4,000 sitting around to replace their water line because they had no idea this needed to be done. So one of the ideas is perhaps using a revolving loan fund, and that's our town money, and it's a loan, but it's anything to keep the cost down is beneficial for us. So,
I'd like to see it say, K copper pipe will be, if an alternative is, not approved or recommended, or you like, the homeowner wants to do an alternative CTS, then it's on the case by case basis. Yeah, I agreed on South Street, had to go around the sewer, I agreed with that. But if it was a straight, let's say it's my house, straight shot in 25 feet, no, you're putting copper in, you're not putting CTS in. Yeah, you're gonna save $175, $200. Well,
So, I got a question, and maybe, I don't know, that's why I'm asking. On the homeowner side of it. And if it's leaking, can you make them change it?
By
If they don't,
ordinance, yes.
ordinance says you can.
Yes, I can.
I was curious, cause if it was me and I was going through it and it's gonna cost me $500 for copper or $200 for plastic. I'm not paying the $500 if I wasn't made to fix it. I'm getting plenty of water pressure in my house, I don't need to fix it. You know, that's why I was asking, cause I didn't know how that worked.
yeah.
That conversation is made all the time. People say, well, it's before the meter, I don't care. And that's why you have so many old water lines in the ground still not dealt with. And
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've gone in someone's home and they say, doesn't bother me. It's leaking before my meter. I'm not fixing that.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. And now what you guys are going to do is you're going to assure that any homeowner is not going to want to put copper in the ground because you took your hat off for some plastic down on South Street. So you're creating a battle that you probably don't need to, and just pick one. It's just going to make it more difficult for certain aspects of it. As far as if you don't have a visual sight of where it is, you're not going to be able to hear it as well. It's going to create bigger digs, which is what? That's time. So you can say that you're going to be saving money, but if you have to dig up a 200-foot section because you couldn't find where it was, because you couldn't hear it and pinpoint it, then did you really save any money? Not to be that guy, but
That's education of the homeowners, of giving them that information when they make a choice.
right. So it's
They do-
not an easy pick, but you can let a Peaker's right. They're putting that stuff everywhere. It's in people's wells. It's from their house to their penetration of their foundation. But usually they put copper through a foundation because the concrete can degrade plastic or move, because we have frost heaves. When you have frost heaves, plastic moves. When it's cold out, plastic pop. It'll break. It'll do all the things that when you have severe cold, it'll do all the same things as copper will. But you can't thaw it. You got the old boys who show up with an AC welder and they hick one end to a ground and the other end to your water line, and they turn the welder on, and all of a sudden you're thawed.
You can't do that with plastic.
Can't do that with plastic.
Okay.
Several times over.
All right, thanks, Si. You had a question?
Yeah, I just, we had at one point, we're talking about the water shut off policy and stuff like that. We had questions for Kevin. Did you clarify whatever those questions were?
They're all.
was the question, one of them was, and I hadn't read all of it, was even though it's apartment house, middle of summer, they don't pay the bill, not the apartment, 4-unit apartment house, and the landlord doesn't pay the bill, we can shut the water off.
I don't think that specific is in there.
You can't shut the water off to apartment house.
No, you can place a lien on the property and you can write letters.
Pay the water bill again in my life. Never pay
I
it.
thought we had this discussion with Kevin, and there is.
There are things you can do, but you can't shut the water off.
That for an apartment building, that's accurate. For a single family home, that is inaccurate.
So we had a conversation all about that,
Yeah.
and I thought that's what he put in there, that there was the ability to shut it off.
Jessica, there's a lot of conversation here and we don't see you on the screen right at the moment because of screen sharing. comments?
No, I mean, I think I'm just as conflicted as everyone else. I like the idea of saving money, but I think, you know, copper is better. So I'm not really sure either.
You know, I go back to my little project over there. Green Mountain Power didn't give me an option whether, oh, you want it overhead or underground, and this is what's going. I said, well, I want to run an extension cord. Can I run an extension cord? No, no.
You could have
Wakefield
run,
Telecom didn't tell me.
you could have
Overhead?
run conduit and pulled the wire. You chose to buy you had options.
The conduct, and you know, I put in a telephone wire that big along, and I had 1 inch pipe, hundreds of feet of it. Nope, it's gotta be 2 inch. I said, for that little size pipe, yep, that's our standard. We're not bust. And
Be thankful you're not commercial, it'd been 4 inch.
And I just think that I'd like to see this say K Copper or any other approval must be approved by the water commissioners. And
Everybody's gonna ask, and so we're
Case by
gonna have
case.
to meet.
And like I said, my neighbor comes in, wants to go 25 feet. He's putting copper in, whether I'm a good friend or not, I'm gonna do it for the best of the town and the water department. And not say, well, I saved you $150 tonight, but your excavator's probably gonna get it more, or putting the material around it or something else. I get it, it's 200 feet out there. No, I'd rather go plastic than a joint with copper. That's my 2 cents. I'll jump off my soapbox.
The same specs for burying either one. The
Yes,
specs-
I did ask Jill that. The specs aren't gonna change.
Yep, you still have 12 inches of sand below and 4 inches of sand above, and you still need to bury it 5.5, 6 feet because of where the frost line is in the state, and you still have to have your separation distances. So like all these other things don't change. It's just, is there a desire to have an alternate material pre-approved, or shall we keep it as that this would be the only other potential material that could be approved if they come in for a special meeting, I suppose, a special request.
One, I'm normally on the side of, and I know I'm not on the select board, but if we do the tracer wire and all this other stuff, doesn't that open up a can of worms that just shit ain't getting done right? Like,
Water operator has to watch the.
right, and then you're gonna have to be out there and all that.
They have to be
out
out there
there
now.
Yeah, they have to be, watch the ends.
So my devil's advocate here, okay, I come in, your neighbor comes in, they 25 feet, you say copper. Neighbor on the other side of you say they have 100 feet, and they say, oh, you can put plastic in. And this other neighbor comes back and says, well, you're discriminating against me because I have only 25 feet and they have 100 feet. What do you say to them?
Well, I think if I'm gonna vote for 100 feet, it's gotta be, is it gonna have a connection or not, number one? Is it difficult getting around like South Street was, that go around the sewer tank through that? I think there's a lot of, it's just not approval, stamp. Approval. I think there's a lot of.
Set yourself up.
Yeah.
I think we're.
I don't know what the right answer is, I'm just.
Right. We could also, I mean, obviously, we're conflicted with this, because it is a big decision to make. Once it happens, and it's hard to go back. I mean, we could always go back. We can update this. We could look at other towns, other water systems in the Addison County, other areas, see what they are using.
We have a bunch of it in the ground already. We have a lot of it in the ground.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, West Street is that
The
way.
8-inch main or 10-inch main.
so Jill said you watched West Street go in. What did they use from the main to the curb box?
He went out to the shop, and I was still working at the engineering firm when that project happened. That was when we first started the company. So, I'll have to ask him. You think they put CTS in on West Street? I
Well,
don't.
I know that because it was a federal project, they could use
8-inch.
whatever was certified or whatever the feds accept. And we didn't have a.
On West Street, when they did the West Street project, we know they put in Blue Brute for the water main. Did they put copper or CTS for the service lines? West Street for the town side, from the main to the curb.
I believe they used. Both,
Both?
yeah.
Oh geez.
They used whatever they wanted when it was appropriate.
Oh geez.
Because it was federal money and they could use whatever they wanted.
Yeah, that when you have a USDA project, you don't have the right to choose your material.
Yeah.
Oh, so is that why we ended up getting away from ductile iron pipe? And then do you think the service lines might be CTS on the town side?
I know that there was CTS sticking out of the ground everywhere they put in a curb. Now, whether that was just because the whip was gonna be thrown away and it was cheaper, or whether it went all the way, I don't know. Did they? Yeah, they had to put the curbs in. And
Should
then
we,
the whips off them.
Jill, if we go CTS, should we increase our depth from 5.5 to 6 foot to 7? You know, frost can, I've seen winters where we get a good cold winter. We haven't had them in a long time, but frost be down 7 feet. I got a,
State requirement doesn't say it has to go down that far.
I don't know.
I wouldn't bother. If you
Yeah.
got a problem sleeping,
your mains are into the water too. Flowing, moving. And
Yeah, I mean,
you
all
shut-
the mains are only 6 feet. I mean, some are 7 or 8, but
well, Firehouse Drive is deep.
yep, that was a steep.
Well, they're 8-inch mains too, the water's always moving.
That's a
Good
nice
point.
thing about a water main. Service lines, especially when people go away in the winter to get away from all this ucky coldness, that's when they like to pop.
Wonder if
Optimistic on your top.
4 inches of sand above it, and they drop a rock down, could it crush that or pinch that plastic?
No.
Or-
It
Is there
shouldn't
not?
be able to, but I don't know what we have in our, I don't think we have a construction spec on that, but I'm not delighted to see right near the water line, the giant boulders being bedded back around it after the 4 inches of sand. I like
I
to
like
not.
over-
I remove them every time I do them. The big clinkers. Cause
Okay.
Yeah,
then that's what you find is a big rock laying on a piece of grass and it's what's broken it. Or a piece of asphalt that nobody cleaned out of the hole.
Mhm.
that fell in, yeah. I mean, that stuff's gonna happen regardless of what the pipe is.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah, it happens to mains, it happens to service lines, it happens to all the materials, anytime.
Okay, so how do you want to move forward? Do we want to make a decision tonight for the particular construction? Or do we want more information from other towns? Or would be a way? Or we just do a vote and we'll see how that goes? We do need a vote to approve the ordinance if we're wanting to do that. And once we approve it, it needs to be posted and warned, it needs to be in the newspaper, and then the public has.
We can approve the
44.
ordinance without the appendix.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, the appendix is something we can approve at any time that doesn't require warning. The ordinance change does.
Well, let me ask you something, that, Brett was asking about the access to the water or to the hydrants with
Yeah.
the spring, is that, you were gonna look at that in there?
Oh, sure. Okay,
So you're gonna have to look at that and
okay,
before we can decide.
all right, well,
Next
on-
meeting.
We're gonna kick this down the road again.
yeah, let's see if we can
Yeah,
get
I don't remember telling them that they couldn't plant trees and gardens around the hydrants. I don't remember that part.
now, especially because we need to warn it and it's 44 days of having it out there.
Yeah,
Okay,
get her done,
all right, well,
get
all
her
right.
done right.
You know, people get upset when you stand in their garden to turn a hydrant on.
Brett wants us to go ahead and trim all the plants, and I said, oh boy, well,
House is gonna have to burn.
Right,
I want to step on your
they're not gonna be
flower.
too upset if their house is on fire,
If
yeah.
you're ever going up 120 across the road from Whiteberry Inn, look where that hydrant is to a fence, about that far away from a wooden fence.
So we're moving on. We're kicking this down the road again.
Again.
Thank you, Jill.
Thanks, guys.
yep.
I just looked up Middlebury and it looks like they allow both the copper and the PVC pipe.
Okay,
And I think Champlain Water District does too.
okay,
'Cause I think I grabbed those ordinances. from Jill.
For Jen Spanton, you can use the gasket.
oh, wow, we don't want that, okay.
It's the same, you can use,
They wanna put a meter at
the
the-
inch and a half gasketed, the same style pipe that we're using for our main.
Oh, interesting.
Like I said, they wanna go 200 feet, they wanna they can put a garden hose over top of the lawn if they put the meter in first. We're in the business to sell water.
Didn't you had a hose going across the road too?
I did, I've watered my flower, my trees.
You've not had very good luck making those trees live.
No, I didn't.
All right, onward. Purdue National Opioid Settlement Discussion.
All right, this is very quick. Another opioid settlement.
Did you look to see how much the state of Vermont's getting?
No,
21 million. But it doesn't tell you what the breakdown is per town, but I did look to see what the amount was.
probably if we agree. So the only discussion and decision on this is to have it come to Bristol, or you sign the bottom of the form and it goes to the state.
Do not send it back to the state.
No
Yeah,
way.
Vermont government entity agreement to reallocate payment to Vermont abatement account fund. There's a
No.
separate board that manages that and it gets
Think
distributed.
of what the community support service
This,
person.
this money can only be used for opioid abatement and assistance and things like that. So we can't just take this and use it. We have a bunch already that we've doled out a tiny portion of. So we would, if we just choose to do not go to the state, we would make a decision of where that money goes, but
Well, is this, can
Greg
this
and I had
be
a
part
discussion.
of,
It seems like keeping it local is better than option.
He said the same.
Yeah,
Go to, last time we put it to the police department.
Community resource.
Yep.
Or Amy Smith up there, we're
Mhm.
expanding that.
well, we also gave some to,
the hub, and we gave some to Turning
right,
Point.
that's what I was gonna ask, the hub.
Yeah.
They can
So
use. it for
yeah,
the
we can
prep.
do, we can use a combination. I don't know the exact detail of how we can dole it out, but it seems like we don't want to send it to the state.
No,
Okay, all right, so we can, Sharon will be able to.
send them a note, we had to
fill
use
that
it, to pay for
Do you
our
have-
Palm Street water.
form. Do you
line.
have that email to be able to complete that? I think you do, right? Okay, I think they keep sending us warnings saying, you need to fill this in by the end of this, so.
Well, the link you had on the website under our stuff brought you to those,
Oh, okay.
those forms as
Forms,
well.
Yeah, okay, so we can fill it. All right, so let's have a motion just to agree to sign this.
I make a motion that we accept the settlement funds locally and not give it back to the state and allow Sharon to complete those forms.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, select board roundtable. Michelle.
I don't know much. I do want to say, welcome and congrats to Holy Holifa, who's taken over the
Yeah.
Bristol market. There was actually a nice piece on WCAX tonight about
Okay.
I
them.
didn't see that.
And then I saw they had a sign out, said Creamy's there the other day, so I was like, oh.
Yeah. They're doing creamies with.
With the maple, the Holy Halifa,
Yeah, and-
maple
and-
creamies and
Maple cream.
maple creamies and vanilla creamies. with
East,
the-
I would have taken my
The
granddaughter
hub
there
on
tonight.
Yeah.
Instead of.
Well, they're only open short
Short
amount of
amount of
hours.
hours,
It's mine, so it'll mainly be used as a wholesale space. They sell
Yeah.
in other
They
places.
sell nationally.
Yeah, they were based up, they're based up in Lincoln. We're there out of.
That's why I wondered where they came
Yeah.
from.
And they're now, yeah, that's good. Yeah, very exciting.
Ian,
Nothing for me. Well, you know, something for me. So I'll be going back, so Greg's been here for 2 weeks, and so I'll be going, this will be officially me taking off my interim hat, and I'll be going back to. I will still be, yes, I'll still be obviously working very closely with Greg on the project side of things, and then answering questions that you might have.
Greg's probably-
Hopefully, he only has one or two, and.
Yeah.
Well, it got confusing in terms of time to
Right.
vote, so it's like, I want people to officially know that that's sort of, I'm only doing it for select board stuff.
Done.
And so that's my update.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Jessica.
Nothing for me this time, but I did want to say welcome to Greg.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Joel.
Just I mentioned there about that thing up on North Street and just remind everybody, you know, Pocock is this weekend.
So Main Street's closed.
Main Street's closed from noon to 9 or noon to 8.
Okay, yeah,
Noon to
And
8.
come down and enjoy it.
And come down and enjoy it.
yeah, it's earlier this year, it's 2 PM to 7 PM.
That's all I have.
Yeah. When is our road trip?
Yeah, that was gonna ask the road trip.
Hasn't been determined yet, do we want to talk about when we might want to do that? We were talking about it in the,
I've already been doing my own road trips. So, I mean.
You can get my side by side and go up to.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna.
Go up to the waterworks.
Let's go. But I mean, I literally did part of that today and that's.
okay,
I don't know how to get all of y'all together seems pretty difficult. I mean.
No, we schedule a time, we get on a school bus, a short bus.
We do it at starting at 3 o'clock, so Michelle has to leave work early usually, so to speak her.
We have to send a note to, Lanrock Sperry Wolves.
That's right.
Can you release Michelle out
Yeah.
2 hours early?
is there a time that you'd like people are available?
Tell me.
2 hours, you ain't gonna be able to crush gravel up the pad.
Yeah, our next meeting is the 25th.
Well, I'm gone the 27th through the 3rd or something.
So do we want to do the week of the 18th?
It's gonna turn into a hayride, you kicking it off.
Right,
Well,
that's true.
We kind of got to do it before schools, well, we don't gotta, but the bus is easily,
Yeah.
Right.
easier to get.
Week of the
I
18th.
was thinking maybe the 18th.
When's Queen Bee's open? Are they open?
Oh,
They're open till 7, right up until 3.
Noon until 7, right?
Okay, every day?
Except for today, because the power was out. Because
She should post on Facebook if she.
Okay. So that's good. So we can end with a creamy there.
Well, we should
Start
start at first, so we don't end up keeping her.
That's true. 18th, next Monday. Is that possible for people?
How
I
about the
don't know.
19th?
19th, Tuesday?
Now I gotta check my other.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
End of the 19th, Jessica.
The 20th? That's the 20th. Everyone's furiously checking their calendars.
I do not have my work calendar, so.
Thursday the 1st.
It's either the 19th or the 21st that I have.
We got training the 20th.
So the 20th, you're available.
I think it's 27.
You might be.
You have an energy
Tuesday.
committee.
That's okay, that's at 7 here. Yeah,
We don't interfere
Oh,
with that.
yeah.
20th, Wednesday, the 20th, 3 p.m.
Okay,
Sunday.
Okay,
Chief, do we have training that night?
he may not be on, so he might be walking around.
He's
He
wandering.
usually has earphones.
This phone or earphones, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Now.
All right, well, let's try that. Temporary right now.
oh, he says he can't unmute.
Oh, sorry, Brett. Oh, that's right, you rejoined. Sorry about that, Brett. Okay. What was your question? Training on the 20th?
We have training on the 20th.
20th. No, we do not.
Okay,
Let's do the 20th.
all right, 20th, 3 p.m. You can get the
Yep.
vehicle?
Yep.
Great. And hopefully it's a cooler day. Super.
I don't know
Probably
where to
go
put
to
this in
probably
there.
go to
Yeah,
Briggs Hill.
yeah. And we should take a look at the work that was done for the Lincoln Road stabilization.
I'd like to go up to, yeah, not Quick Street, Route 17 Memorial Park, and see about
Okay,
Me too.
up my bridge up at his place.
okay. Yeah, we'll put
Yeah,
together an
moved
agenda
it.
for that. Cool. And I'll work with you, Eric, and work with Greg. Okay. Excellent.
All right. Any other business for the good of the order?
We just have the budget reports for month 1 of 2026. FY 2026. Michelle had some questions that were answered by Sharon. And we'll probably make this, instead of this being other business, it'll probably just be a regular business, like a standing item at certain points, maybe every month. We might want to talk about this to be able to look and see where we are, be able to, we haven't done that in the past, but I think it's probably a good thing.
We actually have.
We have.
We actually used to get the things and Michelle always had questions. We,
Okay.
when
But we
It's never been, it was never a standing agenda.
Get
item.
it.
My plan was that you guys would have access to a monthly budget. If you have a question, reach out, and then I'll give you a quarterly update.
Okay,
Okay. Does that sound good?
yeah. Yeah,
As long as I can understand it, yes.
All right, correspondence reports or correspondence received.
yeah.
No? executive session.
I also don't think it's really helpful just to have an operating budget. I don't think it's giving you all the information you, this place seems to run operationally well year over year, but I think you need a more comprehensive, yeah. And then we're gonna like overlay that with like grant management stuff, so you can see what's coming out, what's going, whatever.
Yeah.
So you start getting in the habit of thinking about what you just did and where we're going.
Yeah.
Cause we have a lot of projects coming up and
Yes, very much so. We do have executive session.
I make a motion, we enter executive session for one BSA section 313 to discuss contracts.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.